we're back. We started off with a little bit of a, recap of the $3.99 problem that we're having with books. And Jose, we were afraid. We said, in our last rants, we were afraid this sort of thing was going to happen, and we're already seeing evidence of it happening. How much the lesser known titles are going to suffer for the big boy titles being $3.99 has remained to be seen. But let me just turn around and completely be a hypocrite right now. I'm not really a hypocrite because while I didn't buy this book, while I did read it, and I don't know why I started reading it.
You're the hypocrite.
Yeah, I am a
Chris
hypocrite.
Jericho. You keep yelling about every Friday night on SmackDown.
Pretty much. Dark Avengers number 6. We said we wouldn't talk Bendis anymore for a while, but, we broke that rule with our Wonder Woman discussion, so no big. It's funny, I was waiting to speak with, again, Catherine Demonin, and this book was sitting there on the shelf, and I picked it up, and I'd read the discussion on the boards about the Norman Osborn Namor, confrontation. So, intrigued by that, I picked up the book, and not only did I pick it up and start reading the first few pages, I actually read the whole book. And, surprise, surprise, I actually enjoyed it. I enjoyed an issue of Dark Avengers for once. And there was something strange. I kept going to myself, wow, this is a new feeling for me. I don't know why. Don't get me wrong. I didn't think it was the best book since sliced bread. And it certainly wasn't, let's say, the best Avengers story that Bendis has told. Okay? But there was something about this book. There was a feel to it that I really got. And then it hit me. In the beginning of Dark Avengers, Bendis was basically aping Thunderbolts. Mm-hmm. He was doing Busiek's Thunderbolts. Now, with this issue, he was now aping Warren Ellis's Authority. This felt like the Authority in the Marvel Universe. And that's why I enjoyed it. It was the superheroes, or at least a superhero team, saying, this is a problem right now, and we're not going to be all nice and diplomatic about it. We're just going to go in, we're going to find we're going to find these people, we're going to kick them, we're going to hit them where it hurts the most, we're going to make an example of them, and bam, it's going to be over with at that point. And that's what the Authority would do. The Authority would go and do, like, if you were a Pol Pot, not really literally Pol Pot, but you were a Pol Pot type dictator, they'd go into your country, grab the dictator, pull him out, wipe out his army, take the one general who was slaughtering the citizenry, and throw him into an angry mob, and that would be it. End of problem. So I did find myself enjoying this issue just for the simple, visceral simplicity of it. Now, am I going to go back to reading Dark Avengers? No. Did I buy this issue?
Yeah, you will, because Matt Fraction's in the next.
Oh, yes, that's right. No, Mac Fraction, and we'll talk a little bit about that in the next review. But this is, again, I know this is what Bendis was intending to do with the Dark Avengers, but it's just not original. It's just not original. Because I'm reading this, I'm going, oh yeah, I remember Warren Ellis doing this in The Authority. I remember Mark Miller doing this in The Authority, and actually doing it a little better.
Yeah, to go another step, though I did not like this book, I did like the couple pages with Namor in it. And this also reminded me of a story that I really, really liked, that I only liked the Namor part. And it was called The Illuminati. Because when I was reading The Illuminati, I hated it. But then when they would have Namor in there, I'm like, this Namor is fucking awesome. Yeah. It's the exact same thing, because now it's just the villain's version of the Illuminati with Namor, and Namor is still the best part of it. Right. So it's what it reminded me of, though, too. It's like, and I've already read this, and that's what it was.
Yeah, it's this. The more I read Dark Avengers, the more I'm thinking this is like Secret Society of Supervillains, or the Marvel version of it. I am still having a hard time grasping the concept the reality that the villains of the Marvel Universe are the ones in charge. I'm really having a hard time.
Namor's not really a villain, though.
No, you're right.
Emma Frost is not really a villain per se, so I don't understand.
But you've got Doom, you've got the Hood, you've got Loki. You've got.
Right.
And you're right. No, and mind you, Namor and Doom have been partners over time as well, so you have that in there. Namor is, use a wrestling term. He's a face that works better as a heel, So.
Or maybe he's a tweener.
He's a tweener. Beyond that, for what it was, Dark Avengers was kind of a fun read, but was it worth the $3.99? To me, that's really what's. If the book were still $2.99, I'd probably stuck with it by now. But the fact that they've pushed it up the other buck, I'm not going to read it. I'm just not going to read it. I'm sure Bendis has got some interesting themes, and there are going to be repercussions to what happened here that are going to be explored later on. But you know what? I really don't care right now.
Well, my biggest gripe with this issue, I have many, but my biggest one is that Namor and Osborn are getting into this argument at the beginning of the issue, and Osborn tells him, is like, I want you to go down there, I want you to take care of this, Namor, and I want you to bring one of the, so what's going on is that there's these rogue Atlanteans.
Yeah, an Atlantean splinter group.
That
they're like extremists.
Right. Who are bombing the hell out of California.
Right.
They're pretty much calling them terrorists in here.
Right.
So Osborn's like, these are your people. I want you to go down there and take care of all this stuff, but I want you to bring one of them back alive so I can march him through the streets and make an example out of him. And Namor's like, yeah, these are my people, and fuck you. Why am I going to do what you want me to do? So then, obviously Namor doesn't do it, so he tells, hey, Sentry, I want you to go do this. Go down to the bottom of the sea, kill all those fuckers, and then bring me one back alive, blah, blah, blah. So Sentry does just that. Goes down there, brings one of them alive, and I'm like, all right, cool. So now I'm thinking, all right, this is going to be kind of an interesting thing because Osborn is kind of an asshole. So they're going to take this Atlantean that Sentry brought back from him, and they're going to make an example out of him. That's kind of what I'm thinking that they're going to do.
Right.
And like, all right, you put people on notice in the Marvel U. It's
or
like,
even
we're not going to tolerate this.
Yeah, put them on trial even.
Exactly,
like
which was what they were kind of talking about. Right. That like, all right, we're processing them right now, getting ready for trial. So what do? They take the Atlantean, they throw him in a room with Venom, and then Venom eats him. What was the fucking point of that?
The point was the joke at the end.
Oh, it tastes like sushi.
Yeah, it tastes like sushi, basically. That was it. That's what Bendis went, oh, this is going to be funny. But yeah, no, you're right. You're right about that.
I'm like reading this issue, I'm like, all right, so Bendis might be doing maybe some cool underhanded political stuff with Norman Osborn. Like, what are they going to do with this guy? Feeds him Venom, and that's the end of the spotlight. I'm like, wow. You almost had me, Bendis. You had me something like a little bit interesting. You had the Namor thing working for you, and now you're bringing this guy into it, and then now Venom eats him, tastes like sushi, and
end of story.
Completely. Wow.
So again, it's other writers have done this, and they've done it better. I mean, yeah. I don't mean to seem that as a diss on Bendis. Bendis, it's still, in my opinion, is an incredibly gifted and talented writer, and he writes very, I know we have the minority opinion. There are many other people out there who love Bendis' stuff. They think his stuff is great, and you know what? That's great. If you think that, fine.
And by the way, sorry to break up your stride there, but speaking of Bendis stealing other people's work, that tastes like sushi thing. Tony Daniel did that in Battle for the Cowl, and when Killer Croc's like, sushi time! So now he's stealing from the best of the best, Tony Daniel. Way to set your standards high there, Bendis.
That's actually a much better point than I was going to make. Yeah. So we'll end this here. When we come back, we'll talk about another Marvel book that actually relates to this, so we'll see you then.